they sound really good and really smart things to do, to pursue when you're 18 years old. And adults are like, hey, you should think about what you want to do for the rest of your life. And so I'm 18 years old, and I'm like, it sounds really important to be a businessman. You know, that's as much thought as I put into it. It seems important to do this. You know, I grew up in northern Kentucky, just outside Cincinnati. And when you think of like, what's the best job I can get in Cincinnati, it's being in one of the giant skyscrapers downtown in a suit and tie, making good money. That is literally the dumbest thing ever. But when you're 18 and they ask you, hey, what do you want to be in life? That's where my mind jumped to. So I go to college to study accounting and business. And about halfway through college, I'm like, this accounting stuff seems like really boring. Like, this whole field is void of meaning and purpose. And it wasn't even like just me. It was like the professors were like, get ready to hate your jobs. Like, everyone in the accounting department, even the students, we all just made digs at how bad accounting was. I mean, all my peers, man, we hate accounting. The professors are like, accounting's a dry career. It's like, I literally thought at some point, like, you know, it's gonna turn into a good thing, right? No. I mean, halfway through my college career, I'm like, I don't think I want to do this. Like, I think I've made a mistake. And so I go and talk to my advisors, I talk to my professors, and they're like, you're so far in, just finish the degree. And I'm like, okay. Like, that's the short version of what they said. But they're like, you're so far in, don't switch your degree, it'll set you back. Just graduate and you can find a job in a different field. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So fast forward to 2019. I'm now 23 years old. I'm graduating college. And I'm like, I have to get a job now because I'm no longer a student. And this was like a very, like, this was arguably the worst period of my life, is the year leading my senior year of college. So many things fell apart for me. First and foremost, my intimate relationship, a girl I dated for like 5 years throughout high school and college, that ended. So that was like a part of me died. And then I was just getting like super duper anxious because I didn't have a lot of friends. I was very lonely. It's kind of one of those things where it's like you invest so much of your time into a relationship and then you realize that you just drift apart from your friends, or you haven't put any effort into like making new friends. And I was also a fifth year senior, so like a lot of my peers had like graduated, and so I was just like really lonely. No friendships, no like social group. My girlfriend and I broke up, and then I was dealing with this just existential dread of my identity like crumbling. It's like I've been a student. I've been in college and school my entire life. Like, I'm 23 years old, and my whole identity has been a student. From first grade, 5 years old, up till now, all I know is being a student and learning, and I like learning. And I had to face the reality of like, I'm graduating college and I'm entering into something else. And like, it was a death of my like identity. And I was like, I have to like figure out work. Like, I have to be a working adult. And I know I'm not alone in this realization, and this scary realization. But I was like, I have to go out into the world and provide for myself via income. It was like a lot of pressure on me, a lot of existential things crumbling. I was 23. I was also just, you know, not really taking care of myself mentally. I was, you know, masking and escaping a lot of my emotion via drugs and alcohol, which is not good. But yeah, just not doing what I thought, you know, not 23, and it was the first time I just felt really beaten down and broken and directionless. And I didn't grow up in church, so I had no underpinning of spirituality or the Bible or Jesus or God or anything. I was just a broken young man, and I started to become curious about God. And that's maybe a story for another day. I want to stay in line with like what I'm going through. If you guys are interested in hearing about like God and my testimony and like my journey of becoming a Christian, leave me a comment and I can maybe do a different ramble video about that. But that was a piece of what was going on in my life. So anyways, I have to graduate college. I graduate college and I get this job. I get a job as an accountant in my hometown college. And I'm like, great, this is everything on, like, the job looked really good on paper. I'm like, this is the job I'm supposed to have. You know, I was getting paid salary. They were giving me all these things called benefits. You know, they give you a 401k, which is your retirement. They give you like health insurance. They give you like dental. They give you a tooth or something. And I'm like, I'm a cost accountant for a giant company, Fruit of the Loom. And it's Berkshire Hathaway. It's a big company. It's like an important company. I'm like, I got this important job. Anyways, I remember I started that job. And on day one, like literally 20 minutes into the job, once I got to my desk, they said, here's your place. You know, after I did all the onboarding, it's like the first day of the job. Like, show up at 8 a.m. on Monday to start your job. I'm like, I will be there. I'm ready for it. And I just remember, like, walked in at, 8 a.m. By 8:20, once I had seen the test they given me, and the first assignment, I was like, oh my God. Like, I could not believe the prison that I had found myself in. And I was just like, I am a slave. Like, oh no, I have entered slavery. This is what the workforce is. Modern slavery. And I know that's extreme, but like, I just couldn't believe that I had to sit in like a cell and do like really boring, monotonous work that just meant nothing to anyone. I was like, I have truly made a mistake in my life. So I tell you all that because that sentiment, that feeling of being trapped, and like I've sold my soul, and like I've traded all my time and potential and energy for some meaningless corporate job, I feel like I'm reverting back to that. And I don't like that. I'm feeling all the same things of like of squandering my potential as a creative person, squandering my soul, losing my ability to like interact with the world. And so anyways, that's where I'm at now, is I feel like I'm going back into that, oh no, I just need to get a job. You may be wondering, well, what happened in between? That's a really good question. Thank you for asking that. Well, in between now and in between my accounting job that I got back in like 2019, 2020-ish, when 2020 happened, I was still an accountant, hating my life at my corporate job. 2020, we all remember what happened. Obviously, a global pandemic. My corporate job, they gave me temporary leave. It's called furlough. They let me go for like 4 or 5 months because of COVID. And I was like, thank you, God. Like, I just remember being like so happy that I got laid off. I remember being like, this is a blessing in disguise because I am hating this job. And anyways, I loved like not working. I like got into music. I'm like, I'm gonna use this time to be creative and pursue the things that I like. Like, I'm a learner, I'm a nerd, I like reading, I like researching, I like writing, I'm a creative individual, I like making things, I like crafting and creating things. Anyways, so as I'm unemployed, temporarily laid off, my college roommate, my good friend Jake, he was living with me, and he had just graduated college, and he's like, I'm going off to do this sales and marketing apprenticeship. And I was like, that sounds really interesting, Jake. And so he goes off, he does this sales apprenticeship down in Austin, Texas for the summer. I'm furloughed, off work at home, I'm laid off at home, I'm playing Rocket League, I'm like producing music, I'm like eating a bunch of food and junk food at my house in my PJs and not going outside because it's COVID. And Jake's away doing this sales apprenticeship. My best friend Jake, my best man Jake, my best man at my wedding, like one of my homies. And he comes back 3 months later from this sales thing. And he comes back and he's like, dude, I had the best summer ever. He's like, I learned so much. I learned how to make my own income as a self-employed salesman. He's like, the company culture, the sales culture is really motivating. You know, you reap what you sow. He learned how to hustle. He learned how to think for himself. He learned how to be self-motivated. And he took control of his income because it was 100% commission job. And so I remember hearing all these things and being like, oh, I have none of that with my accounting job. Like I have no control. They want me to show up at the job Monday through Friday and work 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. No questions asked. They don't care if that's stretching you a little bit. They don't give a fuck what you want. They say, hey, Monday through Friday, 50 weeks out of the year, you are going to be sitting in this chair 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Do the math. That's 9 hours a day. You will sit in that chair Monday through Friday, 50 weeks out of the year. End of story. So that was against me with accounting. And then also I didn't like influence my income at all. You know, when you're a kid, being put on salary sounds great. It sounds like, oh, I'm making a lot of money. Salary is like such a farce, such a figment of your imagination, the concept of being on salary. What salary is, it means, hey, you make this amount every year no matter what you do. That means if you're the best employee ever, you make that salary. It means that if you're the worst, shittiest, laziest employee ever, you make that salary. What you do does not matter at all. Show up and pretend to work for 9 hours a day for 50 weeks out of the year and you will make that money. So as an accountant, I'm like, so you're telling me that if I am really efficient and really good at my job, that I won't make any more money? And they're like, yeah, like you're on salary. And that also means that they can work you overtime and you don't get paid overtime. Like, salary means we own you. Because there would be days as an accountant where they're like, yeah, we're gonna have to stay 2 hours after 5 p.m. to make sure the books reconcile. And I'm like, do I get overtime for staying here through the night and working over the time? And they're like, no, you make salary. So it's like you work overtime and it's like you're making less money, it seems, because you're working more hours but getting paid the same. Crazy concept. I know, kids. I know it's really shocking, right? And so yeah, Jake does this sales thing and I'm like, dude, I would like to influence my income. I would like to work when I feel it was like I was just expected to be a corpse, a robot, an AI robot. AI should be taking over accounting in like 3.5 seconds. Like, we do not need humans doing accounting. It's basic math. Have ChatGPT do it. Anyways, the point that I'm making is all these sentiments about work, they're really important. I decided to quit my job as an accountant because I was so unfulfilled and feeling downtrodden and dreadful. I quit my accounting job and I went into direct sales, and it changed my life. That's what I've been doing the last 5 years. I've been in direct sales. For people that don't know what direct sales means, it means that I'm self-employed. It means that I make 100% of my commission, and my income is 100% on me. I have to go out and start conversations with humans about products and services, and when they buy, I make a commission. I've been doing that for 5 years. I've been it's called the door-to-door industry, where I go up to homeowners, I knock, and I start a conversation with them about XYZ product. And it sounds really terrible. Like, people hear door-to-door and they go, that sounds awful. But the reason why door-to-door is like so, it's like unlocking, it's like breaking out of the system, is because you learn how to work for yourself. You learn how to be entrepreneurial. You learn psychology. You learn communication. You grasp concepts of like negotiation. You gain what's called soft skills, body language, people skills, reading people, knowing how to overcome objections, making people feel safe, building trust quickly and effectively. Like, I learned so many intangibles about life through door-to-door. And on top of those intangibles, I learned the simple formula of I work really hard and I get paid really well for my effort. My income is attached to my knowledge, my skill set, and my effort. My knowledge, skill set, and effort. And I loved that. It was naturally motivating. It afforded me like so much time off. Like, I'm self-employed. I get to pick when I want to work. And it's just like hunting. It was like learning how to fish. It's like people, their whole lives, they work jobs and they don't know how to fish. They just expect their employer to like hand them a small piece of a fish every day. And they're like, here's your fish for the day. And you eat it. You're like, yum, yum, yum. You're like, I'm satisfied. You're always kind of starving. You're always like never full. But your company is like, every day they're like, here's a little piece of fish for you. And you're like, thank you. And then the next day you go in, they're like, here's a little bit of fish for you. And you're like, thank you. And it's just like slowly killing you. What I learned with door-to-door sales and being self-employed and being my own boss is I learned how to fish. I learned how to cast my line, be effective and patient in the water. And once I got a bite, I learned how to reel it in. And then I learned this skill. I had a whole fish to myself. And I got it in one day, whereas it would have taken someone a whole month to accumulate the level of fish that I could make in one day. So that was nice because I could go out and fish for a couple hours and catch 2 fish and be like, wow, I just caught fish for today, tomorrow, and the next day. I don't need to go fishing for the next 3 days. I can enjoy my life. So anyways, all that to say, all that rambling to bring us up to this moment now, this year, 2026. And again, I know I'm really focusing hard on this whole work thing. And I know work can be perceived as boring, blah, blah, blah. My life's great. Everything is going so phenomenally well in my life. But this work financial thing is like at the forefront, and I cannot think about anything else because it is just ruining me as a human. My well-being is at stake. My meaning in life is at stake. My like ability to like have an apartment is at stake. My marriage is at stake. Like, me having a future family and kids and having a house, like all that's at stake. So financial, it can be made out to be like one small problem. But like, if you're a woman or a man this is what am I trying to say here? This is more important for men, I think, is that we figure out work. I think it's more of the traditional responsibility for men to figure this out. But all I'm saying is that if you're a man, it's really important that you figure out your work situation, because there's so many things in life that are downstream from what you do for work and how much money you make. I'm not a type of person that's like money is everything, but when you do not have money, then it becomes like you can't really enjoy anything else. Like money is very important, and anyone that tries to tell you like money's not important, like they're lying right to your face. Like money is unique, universal value to everyone. Money means something different to everybody. To you, it might mean material possession. It might mean buying a new car. It might mean buying new shoes. Like it might be a material thing for you, and it is a material thing. Because if you buy groceries, guess what? You just paid for something material, right? But for me, money is freedom, and that's the most important value to me. Like money to me is like freedom. It's like I get to enjoy my life. My soul is able to rest and breathe and enjoy and experience. That's what money means to me. So this is like a big thing that you have to figure out in life. And this year, at the start of 2026, I decided to leave the industry I was in, which was door to door. I'd been doing it for 5 years. I was getting a little burnt out on the whole like knocking on doors. A lot of things crumbled around me in regards to what I did for work. The industry, the product that I was selling, some political laws that were passed affected the product I was selling. And so I started to have like ethical issues about selling what I was selling. So I was having like a moral dilemma. I was feeling really burnt out from doing an extremely difficult job field, which is door to door. Like I did that for 5 years. Most people don't last 5 days in door to door. Like the rejection that you get, the mental like difficulty of it. Like most 95% of people do not make it past 1 month in door to door. So I did 5 years of it. I was getting a little burnt out on the format of knocking, and I turned 30 last year. Or this year, I turned 30 this year. I got married last year, and I just was like, I need to upgrade my life. I don't want to be doing this industry anymore. And so I pivoted. I made the decision to pivot from that. And the last 6 months has just been me like failing, trying to maintain my freedom, my self-employment, my entrepreneurial drive. I've spent the last 6 months doing everything that I can possibly do to maintain control of my income, maintain self-employed. And I've tried, honestly, I pursued 3 different ventures. I pursued starting a small business in my community. It didn't work. I pursued a young adults mentorship where I was doing mentorships for young adults. Couldn't do that. Couldn't get people to give me money to do that. And then the third thing that I did, I was doing small business consulting, where I was walking into businesses, building a relationship, and then offering to help them with some sort of service for their business. Those 3 things did not work. Okay, that's fine. My 4th thing was like, I just need to get a job, like a part-time job, like a fun job. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna get a job, I want it to be enjoyable and I want to like it. So I got this really cool job as a Jeep tour guide driver in Colorado, which is like a freaking dream job. But with that, it's a seasonal part-time job. I thought I was gonna get more full-time hours. Long story short, there is like, I'm just not getting enough hours. And that's like this concept of control. It's like, I have given up so much control of like, I'm not making money when I want. I'm not making as much money as I want. And I have to just do this